You know the EFY Medley, as Sisters in Zion and will bring the world His truth. Believe it or not, youth, and I'm sure many adults as well, have been singing this medley for 15 years now. For those who are unfamiliar, EFY stands for Especially for Youth. It's basically a summer youth program, much like a church camp, and in some aspects where youth attend workshops and various social events organized especially for them. I'm Daniel Masterson, and we're celebrating 15 years of the EFY Medley. Michael R. Hicks, the composer of the medley, had just released a special video celebrating its 15th year. You can find the video and the content cover of the magazine on ldslifetimes.com. In fact, here with me on the phone today are Michael R. Hicks, the composer himself. Michael graduated from BYU in Marketing Communications with a minor in music. He taught seminary for a semester at Mountain View High School in Orem, Utah. He also worked as a counselor for the EFY program for 5 summers. Shauna graduated from BYU with a major in health promotion and a minor in music. She worked for EFY for 4 summers and is currently a mother of 5 children ages 2 to 13. And Justin, he did not go to EFY, had not the opportunity to, but had taken part in singing the medley in many youth conferences. It is a pleasure to have you 3 on the phone with me today as we share how people have been affected by the song and to talk about how the song became such a phenomenon in the church. LDS Life and Times is honored to have the opportunity to celebrate 15 years of inspiring LDS young adults with the EFY Medley, made possible by the talented composer Michael R. Hicks. So who worked on the new video that was just released?
That was me. This is Michael, and I was the one that put together the video. I began to notice many different videos popping up on YouTube of the EFY Medley being performed all over the world. And earlier this year, the idea came, it would be really cool if we could get all of these performances to sort of hold hands, if you will, and recreate the song from all of these different videos. And so what we did is we did exactly that. We cut together the videos to recreate the song, and so it'll jump from one location to the next, from Cedar City, Utah, to Vietnam, to Peru, and Kenya, Africa, and that's how it all came about.
It almost seems like you traveled those different locations. How did you get the footages?
Well, most of them were already available online, but we wanted every continent in the world represented, and so we did have to reach out a little bit and talk to folks who know folks who live in those areas or who were traveling to those areas to see if they would perform it and videotape it and send it to us. And so there's a little bit of that took place as well. And it was great to see how it all came together, and we even had a few surprises that we had not commissioned, and they showed up, and it was fun to see those late additions to the video.
Like what, Michael? Will you share with us?
Yeah. So basically, there were some of those late surprises included a video that I discovered not long before I wrapped up what I was working on. There was a video from Mongolia that I discovered on YouTube, and it was this beautiful formal performance on a stage, and they were all wearing matching outfits, and it was quite a production, and it was in Mongolia. Who would have guessed that Mongolia would have had a choir that performed this, but it did, and it was very, very impressive. Another neat thing was, as I was wrapping up the video and finalizing it, I received an email from a lady in St. George, Utah, and she teaches ASL, American Sign Language, and she said that, she had done a few videos, other videos, and someone approached her with the idea of doing this song, and they handed her the music, and she just kind of tucked it aside, but she just kept on having this feeling that she needed to do this video to the EFY Medley. And so she sent me an email asking if she could have permission to use the song for this video, and that she had just felt prompted to do this video. And I replied saying, well, that's perfect timing because I am just wrapping up this other video that I'm doing, this compilation video. And that we really felt that was the reason why she was feeling prompted to get this one done next. And so she became really excited to do it, and she actually put a rush on it to get it done in time. And so she released her video a week before I finished mine, and we were able to add in a few clips of her group from her video performing it. And so it was neat to see how that all came together.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now tell us, how did this piece of music originally come about? Like, whose brainchild is this, really?
I can remember in early 1999 working on this schedule for the EFY sessions for that coming summer, and we would go through and account for each hour of what would be happening. And we used the previous year's schedule for an outline and decided to make a few changes, one of which was to add a portion where we would divide the boys and girls into separate groups for a several-hour block and create some sort of an activity or project that they would work on separate from one another. I remember meeting with the other female coordinators for a meeting, and we began every meeting with a prayer and a scripture. And the purpose of the meeting was to brainstorm and decide on exactly what activity we would use to fill that block of time. And we were tossing ideas around, and I remember this thought entering my mind and feeling strongly that it would be very powerful to add an element of music to the program, and so suggested that we spend some time in that particular block teaching a song to the young women, specifically as Sisters in Zion. And the others were in agreement. We were all friends with Michael and agreed that we should approach him and ask him to create a special arrangement for this specific purpose. And so that's what we did. We asked him, and he responded quickly. In fact, I have his response letter here in my scrapbook still, explaining how he arranged it and what his thought process was in creating it.
Now, how did these two songs get selected? Both of them are Janice Cat Perry's music, right?
Yes.
Because she is a prolific LDS music composer, and she has many music. So how did these two come about?
I think the fact that they were Janice Cat Perry songs were a coincidence, a lovely act of fate, I guess. I remember Michael bringing the arrangement of Sisters of Zion back to the coordinator group, and we listened. He had two young women perform and present the song, and all of the coordinators were there, and the boys decided that this was going somewhere good, and they would like to also have a song arranged that they could teach the young men in their portion of the activity. And Armies of Heleman was suggested, and the idea that we could go separately and learn these pieces and then come together and have them, sing one complete song was thrown, and Michael made it happen.
Michael, did you have any decision in selecting these two songs too, or?
I think that's kind of the one of the cool things about this story is that I had no say in the songs that they wanted. Those were all songs that the coordinators had selected themselves. One of the guy coordinators named Dallas had recommended "We'll Bring the World as Truth" or "Armies of Heleman." I began to think of those two songs being sung together, and I thought, I think these can be sung simultaneously. Let me go home and check it out. And I did. I figured I tried the melodies together. I tried the chords together, and discovered that it worked. And the cool thing is seeing how neat it was to have these two songs sung at the same time, I thought, well, I wonder how many other songs or hymns can do this. And since that time, for the past 15 years, I've tried to find two hymns or primary songs that can be sung simultaneously like these two can. And I have yet to find two other songs or hymns that work that way. Some will work to a point, but then the melodies collide, or the chords don't match anymore, or the time signatures don't work. Yet, and these EFY coordinators, they weren't thinking about any of that stuff. They weren't thinking about music theory or chord progressions or melodic compatibility or any of those things. Yet they still managed to pick the only two hymns that I have yet to find that go together like this. I really think they were led and guided in their decisions.
Well, thank you. I just, as you were telling us about how it came about, it gives me goosebumps just to think about these two songs coming together, because usually it gives me goosebumps singing it, but just thinking about you creating it gives me goosebumps this time. So, Justin, are you still with us here?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here.
Can you tell us your first experience with this song?
I'm pretty sure I've sang it before. I really had like a big inspiring moment, just because I was just so young. But I remember we were coming together in our ward together with the sisters and the brethren. We're coming together and we're singing this song. We practiced every Sunday, and then we would eventually come together and sing it in a sacrament meeting. And I remember just thinking, just as we came together, how this song takes two different groups. It takes the young women and the sisters, and then it takes all the young men and the brethren in the church and brings them together and unites them, and really just brings us together and shows us that we're all children of God and that we can work together. And it was just really neat to feel that and to see us come together like that.
Justin Odell was just recently released from his mission. I want to say less than 2 weeks ago. Have you had any encounter or experiences with this song during your mission, Justin?
Yes, a couple of different times. The first time was in the MTC, and that was really powerful. That was a really good unity building with all the missionaries there, with all the sisters and all the elders there, coming together and singing this song, and just having just the big amount of numbers of missionaries is just so powerful and so strong that you couldn't feel the spirit there. And then also other experiences while we were on the mission with other missionaries and conferences and stuff like that. And so, yeah, you just feel the spirit so strongly when you come together and sing this song.
You made a really good point multiple times, Justin, about how it kind of united people a lot.
Right.
Because, I feel the spirit literally every time listening to this song, as the sisters start and then the brothers later, kind of did their own thing, and then later on they kind of combined together. And, I want to say that is where I learned how to sing as Sisters in Zion. But, it's very inspiring to many people, old and young, and I know that people listen to it, whether they've been to EFY or not. In fact, I was just talking to someone about this yesterday, and I was like, oh, the EFY Medley, you know what I'm talking about, right? He said, to be honest with you, I don't. And then I was like, the one with the Sisters in Zion and Armies of Heleman, is like, duh, of course, I didn't know why I didn't think about that. So do you guys think, so is this the official EFY Medley now?
EFY, it started with EFY in 1999, and they used it every year until 2012. They decided to try changing it up a little bit, and they did something different. And then in 2013, they brought it back. So I don't know what determines if it's the official medley or not, but they have been they've been using it the past couple of years and since 1999.
Yeah, and you know what? EFY had created many music in the past, many new originals. I don't remember one that actually lasted this long, 15 years. You know, I remember Perfect Love is one of my favorites. Does anybody know the EFY song Perfect Love?
Yeah.
There you go. You do? Good. But,
yeah, it's a great song.
You know, it's a great song. Is it Felicia Sorensen that was the one that sang it? Or is it someone
Yeah,
else?
it was either Felicia Sorensen or Jenny Frogby. Actually, I think it was Felicia. Yeah.
Felicia, right? And you know, it's still my favorite song. But for some reasons, because of this EFY medley, just kind of unite people so much that, you know, it persisted through the years for LDS youth. So what is the date for the anniversary? Or was there an anniversary that was determined? Is there a date?
Well, the official date, I wrote it early. Let's see, it was late January 1999 or early February. It was right around there. But this
the date on this letter, this official letter, presenting it to EFY is February 13, 1999.
What is this letter, Shauna, that you're talking about?
This is
the one you shared with us. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. Do you want me to read it?
Oh, sure. If you don't, yeah, that'll be great.
It just says date February 13th, 1999 to EFY from Michael R. Hicks, reason as Sisters in Zion arrangement. And it says, the following is the arrangement of As Sisters in Zion that you requested. I gave it a form similar to Love is Spoken Here and A Child's Prayer, where the first verse is the main melody, the second verse is a counter melody, and for the third time through, both melodies are sung at the same time. This will be very easy for the young women to learn, trust me. Divide them up into two groups. All Group A needs to learn is the first verse of As Sisters in Zion, exactly as it is in the hymn book. Group B will learn the simple counter melody. They both sing their parts together for the third time through. The tag at the end consists of Group A singing the phrase As Sisters in Zion, followed by Group B singing As Daughters of God. Please call if you have any questions or comments. Sincerely, Michael R. Hicks. So that was just the first introduction of the first part of the arrangement.
Thanks for sharing that, Shauna. So what is the core message of the medley? Michael, maybe you could answer that for us.
Well, that's a good question. Listening to Justin's response, I think Justin's feelings and impressions are pretty typical of a lot of the youth that sing it, yet other youth will have a different takeaway from it. But I think a lot of them will, when they're done, the message that they'll have received is one of unity, one of building the kingdom of God, and also a respect for one another's roles as contributors to the kingdom, as we all have unique talents and abilities to contribute.
I kind of have mentioned this a little bit earlier, in my opinion, about why it's such a phenomenon. But why do you personally think that this EFY medley is such a phenomenon? Like, for example, I have many friends who did not go to EFY, but they know the song very well, and I know many parents who know the song simply because they hear this children sing. But it has persisted for 15 years, like we talked about earlier. Why do you think it has lasted this long?
Well, you could point to a few different things. You could point to, the uniqueness of it, the ability to be able to sing those songs at the same time. There's musical elements you could point to that would make it unique. But I think the thing that really gives it its power are the youth who sing it. It's those who put all of their hearts into it when they sing it, and the spiritual experience that they have as they sing it, thanks to them, who are singing it the right way, that's what makes it powerful, a powerful spiritual experience. And the unifying feeling that they feel is a result of it, and it just catches on. It inspires them. It strengthens their testimony, all because they're putting their heart into it.
Definitely, I think it's just like the message of the gospel is timeless, and you have taken two hymns or a hymn and a children's song put together and make it very timeless for Latter-day Saints, basically. What do you foresee will happen to this song, or do you have any plans for this song in the future, or this message?
It's hard. It's hard to know. It would be great to get it translated into more languages. Most people have just translated it themselves, which is great. It would be great to get some nice recordings of it being sung in these additional languages. We did do one in Spanish a few years ago, but I think it would be nice to get them in other languages as well and make nice recordings.
I believe that it has been translated into several different languages, because I was talking to someone else not too long ago, and she said she sang it in Portuguese as well. So.
Yeah. I keep hearing of people all over the world who have sung it in their language, and they've come up with their own translations, which is great. I speak English, and that's about it. So it's great when people can have the know-how to do it.
I have been talking with Michael R. Hicks, composer of the EFY Medley, As Sisters in Zion, and Will Bring the World His Truth, Shauna Cameron, EFY coordinator, and Justin Odell, a huge fan of the EFY Medley. Thank you, Drew, for joining us here today, and happy 15th anniversary to the introduction of the EFY Medley to the church. This is your host, Daniel Masterson, and you also know that we are social. Like us on Facebook.com/LDS Lifetimes. Follow us on Instagram.com/LDS Lifetimes, plus us on Google.com/plus LDS Lifetimes. And don't forget to subscribe to any of the magazine sections on LDSLifetimes.com. On the top of the right column, enter your email and click subscribe.